Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today I am doing the first in a series of ideally 12 images where I do a landscape based off the month. So as you can see from the start of the video, I'd done some thumbnails based off some photos I'd taken, and to achieve these thumbnails I used Derwent Inktense blocks and the Derwent Graphitint watercolour paints, at least when doing the first washes of colour anyway. So both of these materials came from the monthly subscription service Scrawlerbox, and I haven't had too much of a chance to use them outside of the months I received them. And I'm trying to change that a little bit so it makes actually getting Scrawlerbox worth it. But for this piece I really love the colours they give me and the texture that using these sort of pastels that are also watercolours and graphite that is also watercolour gives my image, which you will see a close-up of at the end when I do some shots of the finished piece. As for inspiration for this piece, well, it snowed in January and it was very exciting. We actually got a fair amount of snow. And I went out for a walk in the evening. I actually went out 2 nights in a row, and the first night it was just all pleasant and really interesting with the sort of light you get with snow. But the second night, which is where I got a lot of my inspiration from, it was very misty, and the colours that were caught by the street lights shining down the snow was just so evocative that I just had such an urge to 1, photograph it, and 2, paint it. And here you can see me getting out my Japanese watercolours. By this point I'd got the very misty effect that I wanted through the Inktense blocks and the Graphitint watercolours, so I really wanted the vibrant colours that the Japanese watercolours actually give me, and I absolutely love using them. And then very swiftly I was getting out my artesian gouache, which I'd also used on my thumbnails just for the layering I'm able to do with them and adding back in the snow. And back on to inspiration for the image itself. Obviously I had my photos and going out myself, but what together they reminded me of was a lot of the romanticised imagery you get from walks in Central Park in New York City. More like how it's portrayed in like film and animation, as I've never actually been myself. And I just kind of wanted to draw a representation of that, especially since, you know, this was a park near to where I live, so it had been kind of coordinated to look a certain way, like the trees in a certain order and the bandstand and stuff. But I wanted to try and create something new because I don't mind working from reference, but if I'm creating an image I want to be able to create something new. But to me it's also important to trust in my eye as a photographer, and that what I photographed was indeed what I wanted to get, and sometimes I just want to recreate that with traditional mediums and maybe just add a little bit more to it. And that inspiration is partially why I chose to do jazzy background music for this video. In terms of it being a January piece rather than a December piece, well, the answer to that is more that there was no snow in December apart from New Year's Eve, and then in January we actually had a fair amount of snow. So to me it made more sense to make this my January image, and it was just what the inspiration ended up being. And yeah, I'm sort of hoping to keep this whole series quite romanticised. Like, yeah, the snow can cause problems, but this was nice snow. It was nice to walk on. It crunched very satisfyingly under your feet. And through the park, the snow was hanging off the trees, and there were people playing, and there were dogs having a fantastic time. And just the way the light would bounce off the snow and like the blue shadows, it was just something I really wanted to capture in art. So I did, outside of also taking photos of it. And of course throwing snowballs at my unsuspecting housemates and then acting with total betrayal when they dare to throw snowballs back at me. And we're coming to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process behind it, me chatting a bit more about the materials and why I used them, and the different references I used and the inspiration. There we go, got there in the end. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my art, possibly consider donating on my Ko-fi. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you all again so much. Bye bye.